Take it away, Kevin.
Thanks, Clint. I appreciate the little longer introduction too. That was great. I know Chuck, he probably wishes something a little longer, but it's great to be with you. It's great to be part of this inaugural event with Center of Gravity 2019. You know, I went on the premise of getting the government out of the way of people who had ideas, starting businesses and putting Americans to work. And that really is truly important to me here in the 1st District, Tulsa area. And on my background, mechanical engineering, as Clint mentioned, entrepreneur for 34 years, many startups, currently still an owner in 3 different technology companies, and I also sit on the Congressional Small Business Committee in Washington, D.C. It's important to me. What you all are doing or starting to do is just tremendously important to me. Also, 2 sons that are pursuing cybersecurity degrees, one at OSU and the other one at Georgetown in a master's program. So I love technology. I think it's what makes people different. I'm okay being called a geek. It's not a problem. If that's what we need to be called to move America forward, that's perfectly fine with me. As an angel funder in many startups, I know how valuable events like today are. In fact, I saw everybody talking and sharing ideas, and I think that's really important to connect people with ideas to leaders and institutions that can transform dreams into realities. One such area, as I just mentioned, is cybersecurity, both in commercial and defense areas. And I want to talk to you about that just a little bit because everybody thinks that technology means cyber, but it has a lot to do in everything that we're talking about in our many defense industries and our commercial industries as well. And I like to talk about a strong national economy is critical to a strong national defense. So whether you are a person who wants to be engaged in the world of defense or not, creating a strong economy, a safe economy, where we can do all of our business through the interactions of the internet is truly important to what we do, because as in many classified briefings that I've been in, the one thing I can tell you is everybody believes the next attack, true attack on America, will be from cyber, and most likely cyber from outer space. In other words, our space force that we're talking about. Everything that we'll do will have to have some kind of data integrity, cybersecurity mitigation. The threat to our economy is real. According to a recent study, many of you may have seen this on CNBC, a cyber breach cost the average small businesses about $200,000 per incident, leaving 60% that go out of business within 6 months of the attack. I know personally of many companies around here that have had malware, ransomware type attacks, and it's different. It's much more sophisticated today, as many of you know. Knowing how much that used to be cost you $500, bitcoins, and now it's based on how much interaction you have with the different entities you have. Also, as I was telling some folks a few minutes ago, that a lot of the attacks today are not on the major defense companies themselves, or not on the financial institutions themselves. They're through back doors through many people like you that start up your companies that leave that interaction between your main companies wide open. And the hackers from around the world, a rogue entity or rogue person, looks for folks like yourself as you're starting up not being secure. So security, data integrity, cyber threats are immense. They're growing every day, and they're real and live here in Tulsa. 43% of all attacks are aimed at small business, and only 14% are prepared. That's according to Accenture. More than half of all small businesses suffered a breach just last year. So to put that in perspective, there are 28 million small businesses in America. So roughly 14 million small businesses in America had a cyber attack last year of some sort. So I would love to tell you that the government had it all figured out, but they don't. They're working hard, but what that always looks like, as many of you all know, is when you have a hodgepodge of laws. And we all know what's going on in California right now, in New York. They're creating data metrics that are looking at the non-uniform laws out there. If you look at California, it's so stringent in the disclosure that it's almost impossible to do business. And so, but that's a standard that's being promulgated across the country. So in Congress, we're working on that. We actually had a big hearing on this about 3 weeks ago in Baltimore about how we could do better at creating a national standard so that we could all work under that one standard. If you look at what's happening in Europe, with the GDPR, the same thing there. It's becoming so stringent, it's almost impossible to do business in the EU. So we have a real accelerated threat that everybody's trying to get around. Congress is working hard on that, which is what we want them to do on the various committees, especially on energy and commerce and small business, to make sure that our businesses are protected with a single standard. And we want to make sure that, again, that it's a rule and regulations and laws that we can actually conform to, that don't make it so impossible, as I mentioned in my opening statement, the federal government gets so involved that there's no way, unless you're a big company, that you can start up. So it's always that fine balance of protecting the 330 million pieces of data, or people's data in America, but also making it so that we can start up and create new businesses. So with that, I'd like to leave you with a big thank you. It's great to see everybody here today in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the folks that flew in from around the country and around the world to be a part of this. We really want to especially thank Dr. Clancy for what University of Tulsa has done for many years in the world of cyber. Many of you all know in the 3 areas of cyber that they compete in, they have tremendous respect in Fort Meade and the national security of our country. We really appreciate what the University of Tulsa has been and how they continue to do that, and an integral part of what they're going to be in the future. So look forward to seeing what the outcomes are. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for having me. Appreciate it.